Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to give some coverage to some of these Arcade1up and mini arcade cabinets that I've collected over the years. I realized when I was looking through the channel listing, I've never done any coverage on them at all. Generally, for those who are familiar with the channel, I generally cover real arcade cabinets, real arcade hardware, and the games to go with them. So for example, your Thomas Wave, your Astro City, Namco's, Sega's, Mortal Kombat's, Sega Universal's, Vulex's, and your Namco Naoris. So these cabinets, they do serve a purpose. They might be an entryway for a new person who want to get in arcade gaming, but maybe they can't take the full plunge and buying a full arcade cabinet, which is fine. But there's a couple of things you need to know, be on the lookout for, and everything else before you get into them. So the first things first is the size. The size of this cabinet is a little bit lower, not much, but just a little bit shorter than your standard candy cabinet. So I would say right now, if you can see in the background right here, that's my Thomas Wave cabinet right there, and this is just a little bit lower, not much. We do have risers for these cabinets. I'm not doing it right now, but I have risers for all of these cabinets in case I need them for anything if you want to stand up with them. But if you were a person who had some candy cabs and you already had some stools, they would fit automatically with these and you wouldn't have to do anything special for that. So that's number one, the size. Secondly, the panels, the actual control panels themselves, when we look at them, they're all, when you get them, I think, maybe, I can't think of maybe one cabinet, but they are all generally compared for 2 players in there. But the width in between from the button ending and your joystick there, it's not a lot of space. So for that reason, generally, I buy these cabinets, Arcade1up, for my my kids or my nephews and nieces. And so obviously they're smaller, so their body size, it doesn't matter so much. But for grown adults playing this, it will be tight if you're trying to have 2 grown adults playing on this. So this cabinet here, this one right here, was the first one I actually ever purchased. And I just bought it on a whim. My sister had called me and said, "Hey, did you know they were selling arcade cabinets in Walmart or something?" I was like, "What?" And I went, and sure enough, there was a cabinet here. And at the time, I had not purchased a Street Fighter 2 arcade board. So I was like, okay, well, whatever. It was pretty cheap. It was like $300. So I was like, whatever, bought it and brought it home. They come in a cylinder box you put together. It took around, I want to say, 25 minutes to put it together. It's not hard to put together, but it is something you do need to assemble. So that's step number 2, just to bring up. Make sure if you're going to get these, you have space to assemble it. And I would just say take your time with it and just follow the directions. They're pretty straightforward. So this is generation 1, and I think they have different versions of these cabinets now. They've been iterating on them and such. So this is generation 1, version 1 of the Street Fighter 2 edition of this Arcade1up cabinet. This particular cabinet came with 3 games: Champion Edition, Super Street Fighter 2, the new Challengers, and Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. So you can select all of those once we turn on and you can see it. And then once again, you have your side panel right here. So let's just turn this on. Another thing to note is that there's only one speaker right here. That's where your sound is coming from here on this cabinet. Like I said, generation 1. Another thing to note, for some of the newer models right here, you have light up marquees. Well, this one is just a solid piece of wood here. It's nothing that's illuminated or anything else like that. So you come down to your main menu, you have on and off and a on off button right here. Some of the newer models we'll get to later, they have, you can hold it and you can actually make the volume go up and down. This one was just either volume's on or the volume's off, system's on or the system off. Player 1, player 2. So let's talk about the buttons here. So what we have is a standard imitation like Sanwa control button, joystick. It's okay. Nothing special, nothing to write out about. It controls well. You have your standard concave buttons right here. Generic buttons to say the least. Another thing to note is about this this panel right here. Some of the later versions of Arcade1up cabinets, they come with a clear plexi cover. This one, like I said, is generation 1. And you may say, well, wow, yours looks new. Well, as you guys know, I spend 90% of my time on real arcade hardware. So I get these just because I don't know why. I just pick them up because they're cheap sometimes. And I think I've only used this like 3 times since it came out. I just get them and sit them inside like my kid's room or put them in a closet, whatever. So this one is all practically purposes still brand new. But anyway, inside here you can select your different games. You can press the A button. It gives you, every game will give you an overview of how to get in and out of the menu and such. And they tell you, you know, hey, if you want to get back to the main menu, hold down your base button for 5 seconds, and that'll bring you back to this main menu. You can select different games. Pretty simple, just like any other multi-arcade that you're used to on any arcade hardware, like a Pandora's box or any of the other stuff we've been talking about on the channel. So anyway, we can go ahead and that'll start it up. So overall, it's okay. It is a little odd to just have speaker sound coming from one area of the system, but it's loud enough. But once again, it's no volume control or anything else, but it's okay. Another thing to note is inside of these cabinets, they are not real arcade boards. They are running on some emulation. There's some custom emulation on some PCBs in there. So you're not getting the real arcade boards inside of here, just as a FYI. So as far as controls and such like that, if you are going to be serious with it, obviously you want to upgrade the software, actually the hardware, the controls, the buttons, and everything else. But if you are getting this for a kid or anything else like that, I would recommend not even bothering to upgrade anything. So that's number 3, the hidden cost of these units. So a lot of times people are getting these, and it's almost like some people use the expression like a gateway drug. So they get one cabinet, it's like, oh, this was great, but I wish it was a little bit better. I wish the LCD screen was just a little brighter or not as washed out. Or I wish that the marquee was a little brighter. Or, you know what, these buttons, they're okay, and the controls are okay, but I wish they really were Sanwa. And so what you end up doing is, okay, well, let me order me some buttons. Let me order a new joystick. Let me replace the screen. Let me upgrade the speaker. So you go from a, you know, a $200, $300 initial purchase for some of these cabs, and then you're up to really, with all the hidden costs, you're up to $700, $800 after you've upgraded all the parts to make it feel comfortable for you. So just keep that in mind. If you do decide to go down with any of these Arcade1up cabinets or any of the mini cabinets, then we'll talk about the hidden cost to getting it to what you would feel comfortable to be using on a day-to-day basis if you're going to use your cabinets. For all of the cabinets, Arcade1up cabinets, you'll see that and stuff that I'll cover here in the next couple of days and posting videos. I've done 0 upgrades to any of them, and that's because I bought them to use as toys for kids, and they can play on them and everything else, but I'm not putting anything into them. If I'm going to invest in an arcade cabinet, I will invest in my real arcade cabinets and upgrade there and keep those up and running with the games and the hardware and such. So keep that in mind if you do decide to go into the mini cabinet route, all of the hidden costs that are incurred as well. As far as weight for this cabinet, it's not heavy. A single person can pick these cabinets up and move them room to room without any problem at all. The riser itself is not heavy at all. So all in all, you will be able to move these from room to room, wherever you want. These do fit in a standard closet. So I got a closet right there. I got 2 arcade cabinets in there, Arcade1ups in there right now. And you can bring them out whenever you want. So yeah, let's see. Any other major thing to say about this cabinet right here? Oh, should you buy it? And if you do, how much should you pay for it? One, I would say if you just want to replicate the arcade experience at home, but you don't want to get a real arcade cabinet, then sure, go for it. If you are a person who really wants that arcade experience, you really want it to be accurate, I would just say, just instead of spending this one when I bought it was like $300, just wait a little bit, get on the forums, and you can probably find you a candy cabinet, an Astro City for like maybe 900, depending on the condition, maybe 900 or so, like that. But these work great, and you just have to know what purpose you're getting them for. What is your intended use? Like I said, you can see mine's in very good condition because I don't really do anything too much with it. But my son today, he was like, "Hey, can I play on this one?" I was like, sure, I'll bring it to your room and take out the other Arcade1up that's in this room that he doesn't really use. So that's one thing to note. Most people I see who get these, the first thing they want to do is upgrade the buttons, update the joystick, and then they go from there. So just keep that in mind. Now, if you decide, yes, I want to go and get an Arcade1up, how much should you pay for it? So for example, this one right here, like it's a Generation 1. If my son decides he doesn't want to use it, I'll probably put it on like Craigslist or something like for $50, right? I would say for these cabinets, they may cost in the store from like $200 or more, obviously. For this one right here, I would say it's probably only true worth is $50 to $80. So if you're getting an Arcade1up cabinet, like a Generation 1 like this, $50 to $80 is a fair price for it. I would not pay any more for that, considering the things you're going to have to do to upgrade it to truly get the experience that you're looking for out of it, because you always get something in what I call like the honeymoon sensation of you just got a new cabinet, but once you dig into it and you really sit down to use it, you're gonna like, oh, I want to upgrade this, I want to update that, and then the final thing you're gonna get to is this actual screen. You're gonna be like, oh, it just seems not as crisp as what I would expect, and then you're gonna be trying to upgrade the LCD screen, and that's gonna be more cost. So keep that in mind. Would I buy it? If you're not going to get a real arcade cabinet, it works, but you're going to want to upgrade the buttons and the control. Total price I would give if you want to buy it is around $80. I hope this helps, and we'll be covering some of the other Arcade1up and mini cabinets up next. If you got any questions, always reach out on the channel. I'll get back to you as fast as possible. And remember to like and subscribe. Talk to you later. Peace.